Class, today we're going to talk about Period 3 Frontier Culture. Spain in North America. After the entrance of Russia in North America through Alaska in the 18th century, Spain feared for its monopoly on the Pacific coast. As such, Spain began an aggressive settling program in Alta California in the 1760s. Missions and forts, such as at San Diego and San Francisco, were built along the coast to protect Spanish settlements. Catholic Spanish monks ruthlessly converted, disciplined, and worked Californian Indians at the missions and began to settle there. To encourage Spanish settlers from what is now Mexico, Spain adopted the rancho policy. The rancho policy was the notion that individuals would be given a land grant of 14 acres so long as they could cultivate and maintain the land themselves. Indian policies. There were several complications with settling the Northwest Territories, as well as settling the territories of the southern United States. Settlers often came in conflict with Indians, as Indians often practiced common land while Americans practiced private property. As such, both legitimately feared the brutality of one another and the threat of sudden attack by either side, since both committed atrocities against one another. It did, however, become increasingly difficult to manage relations with the Indians as more and more settlers poured into the southern and western frontier. In an attempt to properly manage Indian relations, Congress passed the Indian Trade Intercourse Acts in 1790. This required one to obtain official permission and licensing trade with the Indians. Furthermore, the U.S. government had to approve Indian treaties. Although the U.S. Army did not have the resources to enforce such laws, and many settlers and Indians ignored the policy. Known as Americanization, United States made attempts to assimilate Indians into American society by teaching them American values, agricultural practices, and private property. While some tribes did assimilate well, others resisted American attempts at settlement and Americanization. Indians and alcohol. While many Indians benefited from trade, particularly the fur trade, they often had no use for American money. With no private property practices, they often bought weapons. However, once purchased, Indians had little to spend money on. Most of the time, excess money was used to purchase whiskey, which at the time was extremely cheap, as excess grain was often fermented into whiskey because of its long shelf life. As such, many tribes, such as the Seneca tribe, fell into a cycle of alcohol abuse and depression. A Seneca Indian named Handsome Lake used his moral blend of Christianity and Indian traditions to morally redirect Seneca tribe members to reject alcohol, unify, save their culture, but later assimilated successfully. Thank you, students, for listening in.